Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for being on today's call. This is Charlie Sylvia with Cruise Lines International Association, and we've got a delightful webinar ahead of us today, folks. Before we begin, I would like to just do some housekeeping. Today's webinar will be recorded, and the recording of this webinar will be shared to our YouTube platform. So if you're not already following CLIA on YouTube, make sure you're following us at CLIA Global. CLIA Global is our YouTube handle. So you'll be able to see this video and share it with friends and colleagues who aren't able to be on the call. But you want to be sure to stay on for the entire call because we'll be doing a giveaway at the end of the call. The two most attentive, somehow, I don't know how it happens, but the GoToWebinar system can tell us who is the most attentive to webinar attendees. We will be giving you each a CLIA branded pop socket, and this is the coolest thing ever. It's a gadget for your phone that makes it easier to hold your phone and to type on your phone, and also acts as a kickstand for your phone. So the two most attentive attendees will receive each a CLIA pop socket in the mail. And if you have any questions throughout the webinar, please don't hesitate to use the questions field in the GoToWebinar panel. And we'll run probably about 30 minutes or so. And at the end of the presentation, we will be doing a questions and answers session. So please don't hesitate to enter your questions. And while we have attendees joining throughout, I am going to introduce our esteemed presenter. Edie Rodriquez is the brand chairman for the Americas and corporate special advisor to Ponant. And I have to say that Edie is one of the most dynamic, charismatic leaders in the cruise industry and the epitome of luxury travel. And Edie, I have to say, I always look forward to our time together. Welcome to today's webinar.
Well, thank you, Charlie. It is truly my pleasure to be here with you and the CLIA team and all of our wonderful CLIA agents that are listening in. So I thank all of you for joining us today. And I have to tell you, I'm so proud of Ponant. And as you see on the screen in front of you, the world leader of luxury expeditions. I have so many great things I want to tell you about this brand, but I can tell you for sure, it is absolutely positively a brand that you can sell with the utmost confidence and delivers the utmost guest satisfaction ratings. And like many things, it's the annuity, the gift that keeps on giving. We love our travel agent partners. And when your clients that you entrust to become our guests come on board and sail with us and they rebook while they're on board with us, all of that credit goes right back to you, our valued trade partners. So let's go to the next slide and get started. Okay, so I don't know how many of you know, Ponant is actually a 30-year-old brand. We just celebrated last week our 30-year anniversary. We started in 1988, and there in the middle of all of the officers, you see our founder, Jean-Emmanuel. He was actually a merchant marine sea captain in France, and he had this vision to start a cruise line. And 30 years later, as they say, the rest is history. He's done a phenomenal job and always in keeping with that mantra of safety first. But what started as a little sail ship with the first vessel there 30 years ago has grown into what Ponant is today. So it's very important to me to have a founder that is so passionate about the brand, but that isn't enough. You also need a financially backed owner, and if you want to be in the luxury space, an owner that knows luxury like no other. And for that, I am extremely proud to say, if you didn't know, that Ponant's parent company is a company called Group Artemis. It is the Pinot family in France that owns many things. They own Ponant, they own a luxury champagne house, they own Christie's auction house, they also own Kering. And Kering, if you're not aware, is the world's leader in luxury goods. They own brands like Gucci, Yves Saint Laurent, the list goes on and on, Stella McCartney, Brioni, Balenciaga, I could go on, all of the brands that get all of my disposable income. That was a joke, Charlie, but not really. In any event, they know luxury like no other. So it's one thing to have a wealthy parent company. It's another that knows the quality of luxury, is willing to invest in growing the brand, hence why they bought this brand 2 years ago. And that, coupled with a passionate founder, is just a home run, as we say here in America. I will also say that Ponant's biggest challenge is just that we are not very well known in America yet. And that is about to change. I'm also very proud to say in the 6 months I've been with the brand that our goal was just to double our bookings, and we actually have tripled them. So it is a great news story at Ponant as we continue to grow. So let's go to the next slide and we'll talk a little bit more about what we are about. So Ponant today actually has 5 vessels. We have 4 sister ships, Le Boreal, L'Austral, Le Soleil, Le L'Oreal, and they are all, for lack of a better term, quadruplets. I call them the sexiest ships at sea. They are absolutely gorgeous, 264 guests maximum, although when we're in Antarctica, we limit it to 199 guests with a crew of 140. It is just a country club casual style of elegance. And it's an all-inclusive brand experience in that full open bar and gratuities are always included. And of course, a fantastic marina to launch all of our activities and zodiacs from. So as we go to the next slide, we'll talk a little bit more about our staterooms. Here you can see this understated, elegant design, beautiful, stands the test of time, goes out to the balconies. Even our bathrooms have windows in them so you can shower and see out to the sea. They're just beautiful. We have 24-hour room service, butler service in the suites, and it's just a fantastic experience, both on our vessels and off our vessels. And as we go to the next slide, let's talk about our 5 ships and 7 continents that we sail to today. It's just a fantastic, fantastic brand experience. And we go all over the world. And I think that is the key, the real key. We sail to all 7 continents, all 7 seas, but we have growth coming. Sorry about that. I don't know if you guys, okay. So we have growth coming like no other. We have our 12 ships by 2021, and 6 of those are going to be all identical. And then the 7th one will be the world's first luxury icebreaker to the North Pole. So let's go to the next slide. These are the 6, what I call identical sisters. They are just absolutely magnificent, and they are the new sexiest ships at sea to outdo their existing quadruplet sisters. They're all the same, different sort of color schemes and decor interior, but they each have 92 staterooms and suites, all outside, and a maximum of 184 guests. But their intention is to do warm weather itineraries. So Ponant, with our growth, we have over 400 itineraries. Let's go to the next slide and learn a little bit more. So here you see the back and infinity pool, and what you don't see expanded there are the adjustable marinas that go into 3 positions: a sun deck position, a submersible mini marina for the zodiacs or deep sea fishing, and then another level for water sports like water skiing, kayaking, and things of that nature. So all 6 of them will be the same. The first one's coming this June, the second one September, then 2 in 19 and 2 in 20. And they are just exquisite, and they will go around the world for warm weather experiences. So as we go to the next slide, here you see the decor. Beautiful, understated elegance, very yacht-like for warm weather cruising. And these sort of designs stand the test of time. They don't get old in a year or 2 like some decor on some ships do. And let's go to the next slide. And here's just another screen capture of the beautiful marina and the infinity pool. It's just going to be so much fun. These 6 are intended the majority of the time for warm weather exploration. And let's go to the next slide. the Blue Eye. So in addition to the three-tiered marina, the infinity pool out the back, what makes these 6 so extraordinary is what we call the Blue Eye, the world's first multi-sensorial underwater lounge. And as we go to the next slide, you'll get a look and feel of what it's about. So on both sides of the vessel, you will have these magnificent windows that will allow you to see out under the sea and also concurrently hear the sounds under the sea up to 5 kilometers away. Those beautiful seats you see in the lounge vibrate. They have hearing sensors in them. And what a fantastic way to really sip a glass of champagne, preferably Veuve Clicquot or whatever your libation may be, and really enjoy the undersea life. This is a cruise industry world's first. We had to get special International Maritime Organization approval for these underwater glass windows, and I can tell you it will just add to the experience. And as somebody who has had the privilege to go on submarines at sea on cruise ships, this is a much better experience in my humble opinion. And as we go to the next slide, let's talk about our first vessel launching in June and where she will go. Iceland, doing Norway, Denmark, London, Portugal, Italy, the Mediterranean, Greece, the Adriatics, and then on to the Seychelles. And in 19, this beautiful Le La Pérouse, again, all of these vessels are named after famous French explorers. Now we're giving their exploration a modern day twist. And in 19, this vessel will do Asia, the Indian Ocean, Bali, New Zealand, and the beautiful Kimberley coast down under in Australia, in the land of Oz. Let's go to the next slide. And then the sister that is coming in September, Le Champlain. In 2018, she will do the Mediterranean, the Central America, right up the Amazon, and the Caribbean. And then in 19, Central America, South America, and the Mediterranean. And as we go to the next slide, coming in 2021. So before I tell you about the Icebreaker, those 2 vessels you saw the preview of June and September of this year get 2 more sisters in 19 and 2 more in 20. Again, a very easy sell. All 6 of them are identical for all intents and purposes. The only thing you need to be cognizant of in the selling proposition is where they go to pick that perfect itinerary for your clients. And the first question you should be asking those clients is, where do you want to go? Destination is the #1 reason people choose to vacation, and more importantly, choose to go on a cruise. So if those 6 aren't enough, adding to our existing fleet of 5, we will get our 12th vessel 3 years from now, coming in 2021, the world's first luxury icebreaker. And there you see her for just 270 guests, straight to the North Pole. We'll go to the next slide, and who knows, maybe Mrs. Claus will actually be her godmother. That was another joke, Charlie. In any event, the Icebreaker will have a fleet of 16 Expedition Zodiac dinghies, 2 onboard helicopters, and will obviously be ice class, azipods, LNG, so we'll be as eco-friendly as possible with great stabilizers to keep her steady. And we'll go to the next slide. Where do we go? As I said earlier, we literally go all over the world. If you can get there by sea, we go there. The only place that we really don't go to is the Galapagos. So other than the Galapagos, we can take you just about anywhere you want to go in a cruise destination on Ponant. And actually, we'll even be going to the Great Lakes and up to Milwaukee. So for those clients from North America who want to stay closer to home, a fantastic option there. But you see, I think this map depicts it so well. Literally all 7 seas all over the world, and of course to Antarctica seasonally, and then in 2021 to the North Pole. We actually have to update this slide and put a little dot for the North Pole. And as we go to the next slide, We also have the newest small ship fleet. Let's go to the next slide. As I told you earlier, we're a 30-year-old brand. We've been doing expeditions for 20 years. So not only do we have more experience than anybody in this space, but we have the newest fleet. But more importantly, we are beyond green, and we can click, and I'll give you some more points on that, on why we are certified clean ships. And there you see all the reasons. We are very pro the environment, and we want to be as ecologically friendly as possible, and we want to go beyond whatever the requirements are by law to stay environmentally friendly, and we do just that. Let's go to the next slide. So on our new ships, 100% balconies on all 6 of our Explorer ships, just beautiful. It's one of my favorite places in my private balcony when I'm cruising. And we'll go to the next slide. We are, as I said earlier, all inclusive. All the meals are included, full open bar, gratuities, port fees and taxes, 24-hour room service, butler service in the suites, shore landings via our Zodiacs, and all of those excursions on expeditions are complimentary and included. We'll go to the next slide. We also have some fabulous, fabulous partners, and there you see just a few. We are an international brand experience, very proud of our French roots, and I think today the world lives in a luxury international experience. It's a standard of luxury that is all neutral. So we have Veuve Clicquot is one of our champagne partners, La Durée for macarons, Paul, which is a great French brand. Hermes are the toiletries we use in the staterooms. Alain Ducasse is our Ducasse consul for culinary training and advice, the world's greatest Michelin star chef, in my humble opinion. And our spa is Sophie's. And if you're not familiar with Sophie's, it's a fantastic French spa brand. So we have fantastic partners, and our list of partners continues to grow. Let's go to the next slide, please. Okay, we are about casual luxury, country club casual style. This is how the world seems to want to travel on a luxury vacation, and we adhere to that. Let's go to the next slide. French-inspired cuisine, although it's an international menu. So first of all of our crew are fluent in French and English as a bare minimum. And while we have French-inspired cuisine, it is an international menu as well. There are many, many menu items that you can get on a daily basis. So if you're somebody like me who wants to know that a burger or a steak or chicken is always on the menu, it is, as well as this French-inspired cuisine. And don't we all love all things French? So you don't have to twist my arm to go and gain a few pounds and sip some great wines from around the world. Let's go to the next slide. We also have an open bridge policy, true to our founder's roots as a sea captain. And our guests love this. They can actually come up with the navigation crew on board, right up to the captain, and really see what's going on and just have a beautiful time of a view, seeing exactly what the captain and the navigation officers see as well. So this is a big hit on board. As we go to the next slide. Who are our guests? Well, our guests are global citizens. They are clearly an eclectic global mix of luxury guests from around the world who want an active experience on board. Because our vacations can be as non-active or as active as the guest wants. So it's just, I love cruising on Ponant. It is fantastic. As we go to the next slide. And we have a world-class expedition team. As I said earlier, we've been doing this longer than anybody else. And the crew and the naturalists and the expedition team are fantastic. They know safety first. They know how to get you on and off those Zodiacs, take you ashore, and really integrate and tell you about the experience regardless of what part of the world we are taking you to. Let's go to the next slide. We are the leader in polar expeditions, but we do go all over the world. But clearly we have 4 vessels doing polar expeditions to Antarctica seasonally, and we are always sold out because we limit it to $199. Our pricing policy also benefits you as the agent to sell your clients as far out as possible, because the further out you book them, the lower their price will be, and we do sell out. Let's go to the next slide. So what are some of our luxury software? Well, our accommodations are elegant and wonderful, 100% balconies, butler service, as I said earlier, and French-inspired cuisine, as well as an all-inclusive experience. But let's not forget, when you're traveling with just 200 guests or less, how fabulous getting into these intimate ports that are not crowded with other global travelers of tens of thousands at one time. It is just really as fabulous as the onboard experiences. The landing and the off-ship experience is equally wonderful. Let's go to the next slide. So what about our expedition hardware? Well, it's all 1A ice class hull, forward-facing sonar. We have 3D ocean floor mapping, dynamic positioning, certified clean ships, and our Zodiacs are second to none. Let's go to the next slide. So what is the Ponant difference? So on the left, what we call traditional expeditions. And I don't name the competition because, quite honestly, I don't think anybody is truly our competition. I think we stand out in a class of our own, and that is what the middle section is. So traditional expedition would be those companies that you might be familiar with as a seller of travel that purely have expedition sailings, most of which respectfully with older hardware. On the right, the luxury small ships are those ships that have 400 to 700 guests. And in the middle is us. We are a hybrid of all of it. We have 64 guests on our beautiful yacht sail ship, Le Ponant, that does Cuba and the Caribbean in the winter and the Mediterranean in the summer. Our 4 existing ships are 264 guests. But remember, all of our ships are purpose-built except for our sail ship, and our new ships are just 184 guests. So none of them offer the combination that we do, respectfully. So that's why when I say, to me, Ponant is the world's leading luxury yacht expedition company, I mean it. I mean it not only as a cruise line executive, but I mean it as a seasoned traveler myself and a lover of luxury global traveling at sea. This brand is second to none. Let's go to the next slide. So beyond the polar regions, what are some of our tropical and subtropical expeditions? Let's go to the next slide. We are where luxury meets experiential like no other. There is a shifting trend in luxury travel. It is about authentic experiences, in-depth exploration, access, and one-of-a-kind experiences. And particularly with the size of our vessels being so small and intimate, that's what makes it true luxury, in my humble opinion. Let's go to the next slide. So we're launching something. We've actually launched it. If you're not familiar with it, you should go to our site and get familiar with it. We call it the Quintessential Collection, and they are themed sailings specifically for the North American market. So I'm going to walk you through each of these. Let's go to the next slide, please. So these programs are really related to the destination and built around a theme. They include pre-cruise hotel stays and excursions, at least one very special theme-related excursion, and they feature lecturers that are truly expert in the theme. So let's go to the next slide and we'll start walking you through each one of them. So one of them is Voyage to Green and Gentle Lands. This is for the gardening enthusiasts. This one is London to Bergen, and it is May 12th to the 22nd in 2019, and it's on La Boreale. And there you can see all the highlights of this particular sailing. Again, each of these have their own flyer, their own collateral piece. You can do an email on each one of them. And you see how beautiful our ships are. They actually fit truly right under the London Bridge. Let's go to the next slide. A Sicilian food and wine experience. This is an Epicurean theme from Malta to Malta on June 26th to July 6th, 2019, on one of our new 184 guest explorer ships aboard Le Bougainvillea. And as you see here, this is Mary Taylor Samedi. She is an author and a Sicilian food and wine expert, and we're having a lot of special events as part of this. So if you have anybody into an Epicurean experience, particularly Italian Epicurean experiences, this would be the journey for them. And if you haven't traveled around Sicily, and I've had the luxury to go to all of these places, including Malta, they are just exquisitely beautiful and quite spectacular. Let's go to the next slide. And we're going to talk about history, the art and architecture along the North Sea. This is an art-themed sailing from Copenhagen to Honfleur in France from August 25th to September 1st. And this is aboard one of our 6 new luxury explorer yachts as well, Le Dumont d'Urville. And these will include lectures and discussions with Till Holger-Beauchamp, who is the general director of the beautiful museum in Bruges, and pre-night in Copenhagen with visits to the museum, and a lot of extra features along the way. So for the art lover clients that you have, you will want to sell them on this itinerary. And we'll go to the next slide. Ancient Mediterranean Civilizations, a musical odyssey through Greece, Sicily, and Italy. This is for the classical music lover, from Athens to Civitavecchia, from September 18 to 27, 2019, aboard Le Bougainvillea. Just an exquisite itinerary, and for classical music lover, they will just find this a divine itinerary with a lot of special features throughout. We'll go to the next slide. This one is from Hong Kong to Japan's Inland Sea. It's a World War II history sailing from Hong Kong to Osaka, September 24th to October 10th, aboard our brand new Le La Pérouse. These will have lectures by James Bradley, the New York Times #1 best-selling author of Flags of Our Fathers. And I've done this itinerary and been to these places myself, and Peace Park and the museum at Hiroshima are just really quite moving, as well as the other stops along this journey. So fantastic for anybody who is into World War II history or just wants to go to Japan. The next slide, please. And then the world of the ancient Greeks, a voyage in the Ionian and Aegean seas. This one is themed about world affairs, from Valletta, Malta to Athens, Greece, October 9th to the 18th, again on board Le Bougainvillea. And this one has Fareed Zakaria, who is the host of CNN's GPS, and as well General Michael Hayden, who's the former director of the US CIA and NSA and author of Playing to the Edge, as well as Daniel Mendelsohn, who is the internationally best-selling author and columnist for Harper's. So for anybody interested in world affairs, this will be an exquisite journey and quite thought-provoking. We'll go to the next slide. Antarctica, exploring the White Continent. This is an expedition like no other, from Ushuaia to Ushuaia, December 8th to the 21st of 2019, aboard Le Austral. This is absolutely gorgeous. I have been to Antarctica, and I have to tell you, if it isn't on your bucket list, it should be. And if it isn't on your client's bucket list, you should sell them on why it should be. And our lecture team will include a guest speaker who is a climatologist in partnership with the New York Times. You will have our wonderful team of experienced naturalist guides to take you throughout. This is a fantastic journey, and just for 199 or less very lucky guests. Let's go to the next slide. So our Antarctic sales opened on March 15th. And again, I encourage you, ask your clients about this now. The further out you book, the better off they will be price point, and to lock in the space. Because I'm very proud of Ponant. We actually sell out. We are a luxury line that sells out most of the time. So again, the earlier you book them, the earlier you will lock them in. Let's go to the next slide. So booking Antarctica for 18 and 19 now to realize this best pricing. And there you see just two of our itineraries. And those pictures are gorgeous, and it really is that beautiful there. So we include a charter flight round trip, Buenos Aires to Ushuaia, which is very helpful to ease this departure. Let's go to the next slide, please. So let's talk about some new itineraries. Now, keep in mind, Ponant has over 400 itineraries. We also have some great partners that only take up about 25 of those 400 itineraries with Tauk and A&K, two very prestigious luxury brands that choose to partner and charter Ponant for their ocean-going experiences. So we don't care if you book us through A&K or Tauk, if those dates and that complement with their accoutrements benefits your client, or you book us direct. But here are some new itineraries that encompass the 400 plus itineraries on Ponant. So we have Acapulco to Fuerte Amador, explore Central America's treasures and pre-Columbian civilizations. As I said earlier, we're going to the Great Lakes. We're going right into Milwaukee, from Quebec to Milwaukee, in an unforgettable voyage on the Great Lakes. You have many clients who like to stay close to home for personal reasons. This would be the voyage for them from North America. Dublin to Tromsø, an authentic expedition along the unspoiled Celtic coastlines up the fjords of Norway. I've done this itinerary. It is beautiful. And then Dakar, an expedition cruise through the wild Bisagos Islands to discover ancestral traditions and explore biodiversity during the inaugural season of Le Domaine d'Urville. So again, this itinerary, Dakar to Dakar, will be on one of our 6 new Explorer ships for just 184 guests, 92 staterooms and suites all outside. Let's go to the next slide, please. So what are some of the benefits for your clients? Well, all first-time guests receive a $250 per person onboard credit. They can also save up to 30% with our bonus fares. They can share the moment and save up to 35% for groups of 6 guests or more. And the best way to sell Ponant, in my opinion, is get a couple and ask them if they have 2 more couples that want to go with them. That is just perfection, in my opinion, and my way of traveling. And as well, we haven't forgotten the solo travelers who can also save with Ponant. So if you haven't gone to our website, and if you're not familiar with our agent website, please go there and get familiar with us and reach out to your local sales team as well. Let's go to the next slide. And let's talk about groups and how they're made easy. Flexible terms, the best incentives for 19 and 20. You should consider the Quintessential collection for special interest groups, and there you see the list of what they are. You get one tour conductor stateroom for 2 guests with as few as 5 staterooms sold on select departures, and book in advance so you have time to promote, and no risk monies due up front. Select departure group deposits 10 to 12 months prior. Let's go to the next slide. Brochures. Order your brochures and share them with your clients. We have beautiful collateral pieces. You can go to our website, just click on brochures, and that you are a travel professional, and request access, set up a login, and you'll have all the brochures you need. So we go to the next slide, you'll see some more brand new brochures that we have. These are really beautiful pieces that highlight pretty much all of the Quintessential collection that I've spoken of earlier. We'll go to the next slide. And this is in our toolbox for you to empower you, your sales guide, to sell more Ponant cruises. There's our res number. We are based in New York for reservations, so we're on Eastern Standard Time. And our Ponant bonus fares with advanced bookings allow savings of up to 30% off the published fare. As I said earlier, small groups, 6 or more guests booked together, save an additional 5% when booked with the bonus fares. That adds up to 35%. Solo traveler fares sometimes can be waived or significantly reduced single supplements. First-time guests, again, $250 per person onboard credit. And pre-book 2020 Northwest Passage, Iceland, and Japan. Let's go to the next slide. And this is our sales team. If you don't know your local sales rep, you need to, and you can feel free, by the way, at any time to email me directly. My email is very simple. It's erodriguez@ponant.com, and I'll be happy to introduce you via email to your local sales rep. But Teresa Gatta is our VP of Sales for North America, and she has a great team. Ellen out there in the Northwest and Canada. Dale is in the Northeast. Scott is in the Southwest. Rita handles direct groups, MICE, and Latin America. And as well, we're adding 2 more director of sales positions that we will be announcing in the near future. So we're all here to help you sell more Ponant sailings any way we can. And by the way, if you've never sold us and never sailed on us, it's time to get cracking. With a brand that's going from 5 ships to 12 ships, trust me, your clients are going to book us, hopefully through you. But if not, we do have instances where they've come to us direct and we say, why aren't you using a travel professional? And they say, they didn't bring you up. We found you on our own. So you should really embrace this brand because we are growing. Let's go to the next slide, please. So on that note, before I turn it back over to Charlie so that we can entertain any questions you may have, I do want to thank you for your time. I realize your time is valuable. I hope you will reach out and want to learn more about Ponant and sell more of us and come and experience us for yourself. We have fantastic travel agent rates, and we welcome you and your clients that you entrust to become our guests on board around the world, and even 3 years from now to the North Pole. Charlie?
Edie, thank you so much for this fantastic presentation. And before Anna starts reading the questions, can I just ask you, Edie, what are your most successful agents doing? How are they finding the right clients and qualifying the right clients? And what are kind of the common traits of success for your most productive agents?
Well, first and foremost, they're raising their hand and they're willing to embrace a new piece of experience and inventory that they can sell. So they have to want to sell us, first of all. They have to want to get out of their box of what they know, the usual suspects. And believe me, the world is getting wealthier, and those wealthy clients want new and exciting luxury experiences. And what better opportunity than to offer them a new experience? And perhaps it may be a brand they've heard of in Ponant, and perhaps they have not, but that's why they're coming to you as their travel professional, for you to introduce them to new brands, new and exciting ways to meet their bucket list. So I always say the first thing is learn about us, embrace us, raise your hand and say you want to learn more. Ideally, come and sail on us on one of our great agent rates, because you can be the greatest salesperson in the world, but you're going to sell vastly differently if you've experienced the brand yourself. And then what I would say most importantly is, as a CLIA professional, you should be asking the right sets of questions. You have one chance to make a great first impression, to have your client be matched up truly with the right experience for what they want to do. We are not for everybody, by the way. As an example, we welcome children 8 and up, but we don't have a formalized kids program. But what if your client says they want to go to a unique destination around the world, and we have an itinerary that goes there? Do they want to travel in a small, intimate environment with just 184 guests or less? If the answers to these questions are yes, you should be selling them on Ponant, and then you should be asking them for referrals and who of their family and friends are they going to go with on this bucket list destination. So to synopsize, to really answer the heart of your question, Charlie, the travel professional has to be willing to learn more about us, let us know they want to learn more, and we will help them one-on-one with our directors of sales coming in and or over the phone. And then they should familiarize themselves with those fabulous 400 itineraries around the world, because again, the number one reason people choose to go on vacation or choose to cruise, with or without their travel professional's advice, is for the destination. So I hope I've answered your question, Charlie.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it is. It's all about the relationship, and you know, your representatives, they want to work with the agents, especially the agents who are most excited and willing to commit to a partnership with you. Anna, could you pose some of the questions that our audience has asked?
Sure. Our first question is from Natasha. She is wondering, with the open bridge, is the amount of guests limited?
Well, the open bridge is open all the time, so guests can come and go as they please. Obviously, if it gets too crowded, we're going to say, can you come back a little later? But there really is no limit. It's just that we don't want it to be so crowded that people can't enjoy the view.
Natasha, you were probably thinking about groups and families and stuff like that, but I imagine everyone will be able to make their way up to the bridge, you know.
Yeah, they do. Absolutely.
Great. Our next question is from Michelle. She's wondering if you can repeat the U.S. ports that Ponant sails from.
Well, you know, we are a global brand, and all of our vessels sort of follow the sun and travel all over the world. So we launch from a bunch of different ports in the U.S. at different times of year. So we have come to Boston, New York, the West Coast, Miami, but we're not on any set ports on a regular cycle because we go all over the world. So the next time a Ponant vessel will be in North America will be this October on a sailing that will travel from Vancouver to San Francisco to Los Angeles to San Diego. So the West Coast will get to view us this year. Next year we will be on the East Coast. And be cognizant as well that whenever we are in a port, we do agent luncheons and tours, and I like to host those myself.
Well, that's great. Yeah, I went on one of them, Edie. I went in Boston on Le L'Oreal, and it was fantastic. What a great tour that was.
Yes, indeed.
Our next question is
of course,
from
I botched that name.
No, you're fine, Charlie. Our next question?
I'm sorry. Our next question is from Sandra. She's wondering what the average age group of people on the Ponant ships is.
Sure. Well, Sandra, thank you for your question. That's a great question, and it does vary by sailing. Painting in broad strokes, the average age is 60, but have you heard 60 is the new 30? This is on average a young, healthy, invigorating group of people that like to go off on the Zodiac, hiking through the ice Chilean fjords like I did myself last November. But different sailings attract a different age group, and different itineraries do as well. So as an example, a repositioning sailing with lots of days at sea would skew higher. If you're on a Mediterranean sailing in the summer, there are lots of kids on board, so it would skew lower. So it all depends. But what I will say, as we get more and more active now with a 3-tiered marina, clearly the age demographic is getting lower and more multi-generation families traveling together.
Great, thank you.
If I could just jump in, folks, I just put into the chat the official YouTube channel for Ponant, and I'd like to ask each and every one of you to click on that link and subscribe. Click the subscribe button so that you're receiving all the videos that Ponant has to offer. And there's a little alarm bell that's next to the subscribe button. Click that, and you'll get an email whenever Ponant posts a brand new video.
And let me add to that, Charlie. When you go to that YouTube site, there are 3 spectacular videos that I encourage you to watch to familiarize yourself more with Ponant. And I encourage you to send them out in an email blast to your clients. Because if those 3 videos don't sell the client and you close them, I don't know what will. One is on the Blue Eye, the underwater lounge. The other one is on the Icebreaker, coming 3 years from now in April of 2021. And the third one is just our brand video about how we are growing to 12 ships and we do over 400 itineraries around the world. So thank you for that reminder, Charlie.
My pleasure.
Those videos are beautiful. I would definitely recommend watching all of them. Our next question is from Carolina. She's wondering if the Acapulco to Fuerte Amador passes through the Panama Canal.
I believe that it does. I don't have the itinerary in front of me. I believe that it does, but you can actually see the full-blown itinerary on our website.
Okay, perfect. And I believe this next question might be our last one. It's regarding disabilities and wheelchairs on the ship.
Mm-hmm. We are ADA compliant, and we actually do have, you know, elevators that can handle a wheelchair and accessibility. So having stated that, it is a challenge for people with handicaps to get on and off Zodiacs, but our vessels are ADA compliant.
Okay, perfect. That looks like
Anna, what about that question with the Panama Canal? Did you ask that one already? I'm sorry.
Yes, she did.
Okay, cool. Sorry, missed that.
So, you know, Anna, if we go to the next slide, I think it just says thank you, merci. But what I do want to sincerely do is thank each and every one of you for the partnership. We at Ponant are very, very agent and CLIA friendly. We're proud to be a CLIA member. And I can tell you that nothing would delight me more than if 100% of our bookings came through you guys, our trade partners. So if you haven't sold us, please sell us. If you haven't sailed on us, please sail on us. And again, if you want to learn more, raise your hand. I will email me, erodriguez@ponant.com, and I will be delighted to introduce you to your local sales professional representing our company. And I hope to see a bunch of you next week at Cruise 360. Charlie, back to you.
Thanks, Edie. Hey, we just got a really great question from Daniel, and I want to slip it in before you go away. He just says, Ponant is such a wonderful brand. Who should he speak with about chartering one of your ships?
Oh, it would be our pleasure to charter for you. So you can email me directly, and I will introduce you to Rita and our charter team, and we'll be delighted to charter. And you know what? We do a lot of charters. And that, Daniel, thank you for bringing that question up, because think about it, guys. If you are selling a group on a large mass market ship, when you're talking about 92 staterooms and suites, that is a group on a mass market 3,000 to 5,000 guest ship. So that group, you can actually shift to a charter on Ponant and make a lot more money. It's fantastic. Thank you, Daniel. Email me or send Charlie your email, and I will reach out to you directly and make sure our team follows up with you. ERODRIGUEZ@PONANT.com.
And Daniel, I have just sent you in the chat box Edie's email address, and so you can connect directly with her. Edie, as always, this has been a fantastic time. Thank you so much for your presentation and for all you do for the industry and for travel agents.
Well, Charlie, thank you. It was truly my Ponant pleasure, and I look forward to seeing you and your clients that you entrust to become our Ponant guests on board soon. Thank you, everybody. Make it a spectacular day. Bye-bye.